And I'll take 5 minutes additional for a few more questions. I really appreciate your time today, Dr. Mulligan. I do want to turn to the great work that you have been doing at the Office of Advocacy. You and your team have worked really hard to shed light on a lot of these hard-to-understand regulations. There's a lot on the books that are small businesses. They don't have the time to research. They don't have the time to understand. They don't have additional personnel to sort through all of that, and it costs them money. So as you've traveled across the country, I know you've met with a lot of small businesses, you've had discussions with small firms. What is the top existing regulation that is currently negatively affecting small businesses that those of us here in Congress can actually grab a hold of, or even something that exists that the administration might be able to grab a hold of and look at reforming or rolling back?
Thank you for your question. There are regulations in both categories, and in fact, working together like the Congress did on the Congressional Review Act, that small businesses are very thankful for that. That gives them more durability and more certainty going forward. You know, a top one is a little bit hard. We just put out on our website, advocacy.sba.gov, a most wanted list. And there's not just one on there, but it's a fairly short list. These are the ones we heard most from the small businesses, and often in a dollar sense, they have costs well into the billions just for one of the rules. The 2024 Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification is one that we hear a lot from small businesses that are involved or hope to be involved in contracting. The 2024 HEAT rule, quarterly payroll filings, and believe it or not, 15 years on, the Obamacare's employer mandate.
I wish we had had that question just a little bit ago. So, yes, the mandate can be very, very costly. But I do hope that as a Congress or as an administration that we can all work together to find some reasonable solutions to help our small businesses in all of those areas. So following the bureaucratic nightmare created by the former administration, the Trump administration has been really working very hard to slash a lot of the regulations and red tape that are out there that affect small businesses and make it cheaper and simpler for these small business owners to comply with federal regulations. And your office has been playing a key role in that fight. So, Dr. Mulligan, I intend to follow up with, of course, perhaps a question for the record, but as the first confirmed chief counsel for advocacy in a decade, and you noted that the seat had been vacant, but you were the first one in a decade. I'm confident that you have many well-informed ideas about how to strengthen and better that role for the benefit of all of our small businesses. So if you would briefly, because I only have a minute and a half left, just briefly describe what you've thought about any legislative changes that you would recommend that could be helpful to us, and in addition to the Prove It Act, of course, because I would like to see that over the finish line. But things that would allow us to be good champions for our small businesses.
Thank you for your question. One idea in the spirit of the Prove It Act would maybe to require that any major rule can't be certified without the Chief Counsel's approval. So let's not stop the double talk, the Orwellian doublespeak. That would be an idea. If you can, take a look at President Trump's budget. It's an excellent budget, but one of the things that it does is really support the Office of Advocacy to a much greater degree than the draft budget that came out of the House. Mm-hmm. So if the Senate could look at that, that would also, I think, be helpful. And
wonderful. I
know the small businesses are very appreciative of what Advocacy is able to do now that it has a Senate-confirmed leadership.
I think that's great. And again, I'll reform this question. I'll submit it for a question for the record. And then as you're hearing from some of those small businesses, you said you had 97 different ideas or suggestions that are out there or topics. Perhaps some of those might make its way here to the halls of Congress, and we could actually work on some solutions for those small businesses. So I will stop the questions here. and do appreciate your time today. I thank you. I know it is a busy day on the Hill, but thank you for being here. I see that there are no further questions, so again, thank you for joining us. I ask unanimous consent that the record of today's hearing remain open for 2 weeks for members to submit questions, revise and extend their remarks, and submit additional information into the record. And without objection, it is so ordered. And with that, the Committee on Small Business and Entrepreneurship stands adjourned. Thank you, Dr. Mulligan.